Hello, hi. This is yet another discussion we are to have today. Um, my name is Grace. I'm always excited to be doing these live discussions by Nzumari, Africa. I am a psychologist by profession, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to always interact as we talk about mental health and as we continue to keep the conversation going on mental health. I know there are people who have joined us. This organization is called Nzumari Africa, and we work with young people to make sure that their stay is and their growth in life is positive. So welcome guys. Today we are having a discussion on how childhood experiences influence how we express our emotions. And it's raining outside, and I'm today I've kept warm with a red trench coat, and I'm glad. So this month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the theme of this year is Tools to Thrive. And I remember last time I asked the audience to mention what tools they use to thrive, so that they can ensure that their mental health is improving, and to also ensure that they have resilience in case they come across difficult situations in future. And last time we had tools like walking. There are some who interacted with their friends. Welcome guys, I can see people are joining. Thank you for joining this Facebook Live. We are talking about our tools to thrive, and I'm just mentioning a few that were mentioned last time. Mine were walking and watching comedy and doing crochet. I'd like to know if there's any of you who practiced their tools to thrive, their coping mechanisms last week. Myself, I did. I took a walk last week. I also watched 1 or 2 episodes of a comedy that I love. So feel free to comment so that we can continue to interact. So I would like to begin with a short activity, and I'm not so sure if you can hear me, anyone. Just you can type in the comment box. So there's an interesting question I came across this week as I was doing some reading, and it asked just part of creating self-awareness or just having fun with yourself. If I had a boat, what would I name it? And the instant name that came to my mind was I think I'll name my boat the Grace. Yeah. So let me Let me type that in. Maybe I can have some responses as we continue. If you had a boat, what would you name it? Boats are given names, apparently. So if you had a boat, what would you name it? So as we continue, I can see more people are joining. Thank you so much for coming in. Um, so childhood experiences and how we express our emotions. Um, I'll begin by saying that number one, emotions are part of our everyday life, and there are six universal emotions that are common. One of them is happiness, anger. The other one is surprise, fear. The other one is sadness and disgust. Na hii inanikumbusha I can see more people joining. It reminds me of this animation called I cannot remember its name, but that was the whole idea. The animation had all these emotions in character playing, and so we would see each emotion coming off and coming through across the movie. So these are the six universal emotions that you have: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, and surprise. Emotions are part of who we are. They are part of our everyday life. And even now, I can ask us, um, what emotion are you feeling at the moment? For me, I can say I am happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I guess I've been happy the whole day today. I have not encountered a situation where uh, maybe I could have a negative emotion. So mine is happy. I don't know what your emotion is at the moment. Mine is happiness. And so we learn to express our emotions in two primary ways. There is directly, that is verbally, like I have just done. I can, like I am happy. That is me expressing my emotion directly to you. And there is also indirectly by nonverbals, like I could go and I'm happy. And then there is sadness, and then there is anger. I don't think I can show anger right now. And then there is surprise, and then there's disgust, and then there is fear. Yeah, I don't think that's fear, but you get the point. So we learn to do that in only two ways. There's also that there is directly and indirectly. And so in our childhood experiences, as we grow, there are positive ones and there are negative ones. And so we are going to look at both the positive and the negative and how they influence us in expressing our emotions. But before we go there, I'm not so sure if in our home setting, I, 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 I was trying to recall if and how often in our homes do we just sit down and ask ourselves about our emotions. Like you have a family meeting and you're there and you're being taught how to express your emotions, especially as a child. How often, if any of you can recall, how often did your parents or your primary caregivers sit you down to teach you how to express your emotions? I think that's an interesting question that came across while I was preparing to do this presentation, this live talk. How often did ni mara ngapi wazazi walikukalisha chini, or when something happened at home walikukalisha and then they told you, no, this is not how you're supposed to do it. This is how you're supposed to do it instead, in regards to expressing our emotions. Because you'll find in most cases you can have an argument with your parents or your siblings at home, or anyone, just anyone, but who is a constant in your life, and you find when in the heat of the discussion ama wakati vitu zinaendelea, as in when you're just talking and something just negative happens, either someone or a parent will raise their voice at the child, or they leave the room dramatically. Tantrums are for children, so parents dismiss. You find or teachers can dismiss or shout at you, or even your friends and your older siblings or your younger siblings. They just walk out on you or raise a voice, or yeah. So how often ni mara ngapi mlikaa chini as a family just to learn how to express your emotions, like, or you're given a chance to say, I am not happy with what happened yesterday, etc, etc. And so childhood experiences, as I've said, they are negative. There are some which are negative and others which are positive. And so let us start with the negative side. Utapata there are several negative childhood experiences that some are to the extreme and they are called adverse. And examples are abuse, whether emotional or physical or sexual. There is domestic violence at home. There is neglect. Your parents or your primary caregiver neglecting you. There is poverty. Yeah. There is also stress. Exposure to violence also. Yeah, whether your parents are fighting, your caregivers are fighting, or the neighborhood around is violent. Those are the adverse childhood experiences that most people might have experienced. And so in these experiences, there's how we learn we want to see how they affect how we express our emotions, because there's a research that was done and it says that children who have experienced adverse environment experiences or adverse childhood experiences, they show difficulty in emotional awareness, they show difficulty in emotional expression. For example, you'll find that if a child has been exposed to violence while they were growing up, utapata, of course, their response to that environment was constantly fear. So utapata the child has been accustomed to only experiencing fear. Ye anajua tu kuogopa cause hiyo ndio emotion amezoea kuexperience ama kupata because of the prolonged exposure while growing up. So you find that fear becomes inakuwa baseline, inakuwa kaa foundation such that hata kama hakuna kitu threatening, they'll constantly just experience fear. And you'll see this maybe akikuwa mkubwa, and now they begin to now wanapata sasa opportunity ya kuexplore and create interpersonal relationships which are intimate, of course. Utapata they have that fear. The response yao ya kwanza to whatever situation, whether it's a threat or whether it's safe, it becomes what they were used to because of their experience. That is how our childhood experiences influence how we express our emotions. What you were exposed to, because I was looking at it in this way. Assuming mtoto umekuja home and every time ungeleta performance yako, maybe your parent just shouts at you. So perhaps you have done so well, but there's a lot of insult. Unatusiwa tu. And haoni, like, they can't, your primary caregiver does not even see anything good about it. And you know you've worked so hard, but it's insult after insult after insult. So at that time you begin to either you get angry or you fear or you're sad. Yeah, it can be sad also, because those are the universal emotions that we have. So you find even while growing up and you achieve something, like you've worked so hard perhaps to get this job, you've done your research, you've gone for conferences, you've networked, etc, and then you finally get the job, and people expect you to be happy. Watu wana expect ukue happy, watu wana expect you even throw a party. People throw parties. So but you unabaki neutral, like nothing has happened. For you it's just another day, because even well as a child ungepata achievement, unapata emotion ama response ya mzazi ama siblings wako ama mwalimu haikuwa negative. Sawa, emotion ukapata pia ni negative. So it cuts across adulthood. So I don't know if there's anyone who can give us a personal experience ya vile when you are a child, and especially when you have gone through a negative childhood experience, tupatie an example of how that affected you in expressing your emotion. Kitu ilikufanyikia ukiwa mdogo imekuwa ikikufanyikia, and then now as an adult, now that you are an adult, how it has affected you in expressing your emotion. And unaona, okay, let me go back to the negative experiences. When we talk about abuse, hata si lazima ikue ati you are abused. It is something, even a threat. These things don't have to be really deep. Just a threat of abuse. Wewe haunijui wewe. Hizo threats from parents. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. Yeah, as simple as a threat. Hizo experiences, how did they affect you in expressing your emotions? The comment box as well is open for us. You can type in as we continue with the discussion. So as I asked earlier, I asked us to give us examples if at our homes we were taught how to express our emotions, especially verbally, directly. You'll find in some cultures, people are actually told to sit down and talk about what they are feeling. and in some other cultures they don't. And so growing up, we are not really able to express ourselves and say, this is how I feel. We do it indirectly. Silent treatments, uh, something is something, haitoki na maneno, just indirect. So I think it's important to note that as adults, we will always react to what we experienced while we were children, because our minds always want to feel we always want to go back to what was familiar to us. So even even as we experience negative when we experienced negative childhood experiences or adverse childhood experiences, you'll find growing up and when we get to have children, if we are not able to really note down where we are coming from, the cycle continues. Like, if for you at home kitu inge happen and silent treatment ndio inge reign in the family, high chances of that happening was huge. Of that happening in future is huge, because we have not learned. As we continue to grow up, it's important to note that tunalearn, tukiunlearn, tukilearn, tukirelearn. So tukiendelea hivyo without cutting the cycle and asking the important questions, inakuwa hard kujua how to express our emotions vizuri. But let us not also dwell in the negative side. Let us go to the positive side. Because there are families and there are parents who really worked so hard to ensure that as children we are able to express our experiences were correct, and hence our emotions are correct. You'll find in a situation where positive childhood experiences is where the family, you sit down and you're able to have a family discussion, a family outing, able to do things together. If there's a project you're doing at home as a child, when you come back from school and it's the end of the year and your results are out, regardless of your performance, the treatment does not change really. It remains constant, but of course with a lot of motivation. This is what I mean. Like for me, every time I would come back from home, regardless of my performance, my primary caregivers would always have a constant response. Like, and this was the statement: we don't really love you for what you do in school, we just love you for who you are. And so you find experiences kama hizo as growing up, they are positive. And so even as you continue in school, wewe unajua ukirudi kwenyu unapendwa bado, hauchukiwi. And it becomes easy for someone like me to actually express myself, because sorry for that, because you'll find I've grown up feeling positive, I've grown up feeling okay, regardless, even in those times when I would fail in exams, bado ningekalishwa chini niulizwe what really happened, and you sit down and unawaambia maybe ni hapa sikushika, or maybe I was bullied in school, or maybe etc, ama that term I was not feeling really well mara mingi, so I will spend time kwa nurse, school nurse. So they will really want to know why, instead of just bashing. And along the way unapata I'm able to express myself freely, knowing that hakuna threat, hakuna kusema ati kwa nini hujafanya hivi, next time usipofanya hivi vizuri haurudi huku kwetu. But for me it was different, and so you're able to have a positive outlook of life, and you're able to express your emotions well, both directly and indirectly, such that if you're happy, you're happy. If you're sad, you're sad. There's no a mixture of trying to please people and trying to be true to yourself. No, it's either you're true to yourself or you're not. So the other thing I would like us to look at is, are we really able to change our childhood experiences? Kuna an interesting outlook that came up while I was thinking about this, and it's something that is called reparenting. It's a new concept I've just learned, and I would like to share it. Ningependa kuwaambia ni nini, and it's something that can go a long way in trying to learn now and to unlearn how to express our emotions regardless of the childhood experience you had. So reparenting, it means showing up for yourself in the way that you needed while you were young. I'll say it in Kiswahili. I'll just say it I'll say it in another way. Reparenting ni kujitreat vile ulikuwa unataka while you were young. Like vile ulikuwa na grow up, kuna vitu of course haukupenda kuona, because no one is perfect. Even our parents or our caregivers, they are not so perfect, because even for them, as I told you, if you don't break the cycle, it continues. And that is why you'll find maybe even for them while growing up, their experiences while they were children were so adverse and they were not positive. So it was not easy for them to pass on positive experiences to you. It was not easy for them to express their emotions in a better way to you, or to teach you how to do it, because hawakufunzwa hata wao, hawakuwa najua hiyo ni nini. But there's this interesting concept that is called reparenting, na inasema as in to do what you wanted to see while you were a child. And you know, unaweza iona ni kama ni kitu positive. Yeah, it's not like, okay, no, yes, it is a positive thing, but it can involve very hard lessons to learn. This is what I mean. Maybe as a child, you are given everything. Ukiulizwa, ukiitisha kitu unapewa, ukiitisha unapewa. So haukujua that you can lack something, and so you go to you get into a new relationship. Maybe it's a work relationship or an intimate relationship with your partner, and you expect that how it was when you were a child with your caregivers is how it's going to be now that you are having these new relationships in your life. So ukiitisha kitu na expect kupewa, ukipeana opinion in your workplace una expect go through. Wewe haujui kuambiwa hapana. So how reparenting comes in for you as an individual is you discipline yourself. You actually tell yourself, si lazima nipate kenye naitisha kila time. It has to involve a lot of discipline. You say no to yourself now. Now you are reparenting, but now the work is yours. You say no to yourself. You say, apana, I don't think this is fair for my partner. I'm not fair. I'm not able to put his or hers opinions into consideration. I'm selfish. And so you have to reparent yourself. But there's also this side of when you are a child, you are neglected. When you are a child, you are threatened. When you are a child, you experienced poverty. When you are a child, ulikuwa exposed sana to violence. And this is what you are accustomed to. And so, how reparenting comes in is you identify what you carried across or what you carried through these negative childhood experiences into your adulthood and ensure that you cut off what needs to be cut off. Like if response yako to every situation while you are a child was kujifungia bedroom, kutoonana na watu. So now, as an adult, what you do is you don't run away. You stick in the situation, confront it, and know if you need help, you ask for it. And that becomes easy in learning how to now express our emotions now that we are adults, regardless of whatever childhood experience you had, whether ilikuwa adverse or positive. I hope we have learned something new. That is something that I learned recently about reparenting. And it can go a really long way into ensuring that we are able to express our emotions in a positive way. So, as we continue, there are other ways we can include in our day-to-day activities as we try to ensure that we are expressing our emotions well. Number one is to always be a good observer of your feelings. Don't run away from them. Usikimbie kama umekasirika. Observe. Now try not to put them in so much. Express them. Observe your feeling. I'm feeling hurt. Observe it. Attend to it. Attend to what it is trying to signal you. I think that is very important as adults, and even for those of us who have children, as we try to ensure that we are giving them the positive childhood experiences as they continue to grow up with us, is to always teach them to be a good observer of their feelings, to attend to what anafeel. Nafeel uchungu, umenihurt. I feel unheard. Nasikia ni kama hujanisikia vizuri. Mbona haupay attention? Listen to what you're feeling. I'm feeling angry. Why are you feeling angry? And then from there, now you ask that question. Yes, why are you feeling? Now pay attention to the interpretation. Yani, get to know exactly why and be true to yourself. Like, I'm hurt because in as much as how inakaa ni kitu minor, but when I was talking to you ulikuwa unaangalia simu na nilikuwa na expect utaniangalia mimi. So I felt like my talk or I felt like worthless to you at that point. I felt like I'm not valued. So pay attention to that interpretation and you learn to express it verbally. Of course, in a healthy way, not in a manner to show violence or negative use of power. No, just in a positive kind of way, as neutral as it can be. And then as you continue, if you're really not able to express your emotions, and if you're learning, always be patient because it's a learning process. As we continue, as we grow, these things are not easy because, as I said, if your response to everything in the past was fear, and if that is what you've carried through, then it becomes difficult to experience happiness if something good happens. So be patient with yourself. It's a learning process even as you continue. And always be kind. Just be kind to yourself, because you're learning. Because it is something that you're now unlearning. You are unlearning to show fear in all situations. You are now learning to show other to show other emotions. So be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself, and it's going to go a long way in ensuring that our childhood experiences do not affect who we are now as adults, and we are able to express our emotions positively. I don't know if there are any questions. uh, I welcome any questions from the audience, any clarification, any comment, anyone. Let me see if there are any questions. There be no more questions. I think I can end the conversation there. I hope we've learned something. I hope we've gone on home with something new. I hope we've taken time to reflect And I hope we can keep this conversation going as we continue to talk about mental health, as we continue to improve our mental health, as we continue to become better people. It was lovely once again being with you guys and joining in. Thank you so much for those who have joined. Thank you for those who are going to watch later. Feel free to ask any questions later, to reach out to us on our Facebook page, Nzumari Africa. We'll be glad to keep the conversation going. Thank you guys, and remember, this month and this year, the theme is Tools to Thrive. And so let us continue to practice our practical tools, our coping mechanisms to improve our mental health so that life can get easier. Thank you guys. Have a lovely evening.